Hey, it's me, Tammy B, and this is my review for the haves and the have-nots. Alright, y'all, so what you guys think about this episode? I don't know, overall I thought it was kind of blah. And you know, I usually don't think these episodes were blah, but it had a few good parts, I guess. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. It is season 4, episode 14, titled Giving Candy to a Baby. So, why do you think it was called that, giving candy to a baby? Is it because, you know how Wyatt OD'd on the drugs? So is that like giving candy to a baby or giving drugs to a baby? Or like giving money to a baby and he couldn't even like handle it, now he did? Or, you know, Candace and the baby, even though I guess it should be more so giving a baby to Candace because they messed around and gave her the baby. Now she ain't got the baby. But I don't know. That's what it was called. So let's just go ahead and get into it, y'all. It started off with Lisa McDowell down to the hotel. And she feel bad about Wyatt dying. She takes the blame and was like, oh, this is all my fault. And the other cop was like, no, this is not your fault. Like, he was a drug addict before you gave him the money. She was like, yeah, but I'm the one who gave it to him. And then he was like, but you gave him a drug test, right? And she was like, yeah, he said he was clean and he passed the drug test. So the other detective was like, it's not your fault. But we know that her ass is grass. So, yeah. She hightailed herself right on out of there. She can't even call the parents. Of course, Catherine threatened to kill her. So, yeah. Lisa McDowell is shook, y'all. And we understand why. But that cop did have some good points. Like, you could blame the drug dealer. You could blame his parents for, you know, not getting him in check or for being rich, whatever. So, I mean, I understand what the detective guy was saying, but at the same time, we know that Lisa McDowell was blowing it, y'all. So, anyway, y'all, next scene, we got Hannah walking through the hood with no wig on at midnight. Girl, why? I understand you just found out that your grandson is in, foster care, but what you gonna do at midnight? You can't go over there at midnight. You can't call him at midnight. So what's the point in going over to Hannah's house? And that's why Benny was like, just calm down, go over there tomorrow. That's her baby. She could do what she want. But she was so gung-ho about going over there, she ended up walking, and Benny pulled up right when she got there. She was like, oh, that's messed up. Like, you made me walk. And in a sense, I would have probably did the same thing. But Benny claimed he didn't do it on purpose. But hey. So boom, Pearl walk outside with Benny and Hannah arguing. Now, okay, we all know Hannah give us slave tease. And so I wasn't here for her mamming the lady all like that, but only in the beginning because, okay, we know what these cops be doing to our black boys. So I understand when the white lady walked up and Hannah was like, no, ma'am, I'm fine. I don't need help. You know, this is my son. Well, she didn't say it then, but she was like, you know, he's not bothering me. Like, we're good. So I understand her saying ma'am then, but any point after that, like, because, you know, hey, don't call the police on my son so my son could get shot. I understand and stand for that. But any point after that, girl, no. Once I found out she just some nosy neighbor next door, you wouldn't have got nothing from me other than how about you go take your ass in the house and mind your own business, you know? But whatever, I get it. You know, Hannah just being courteous, I guess being courteous. And you got to understand, she is from an older generation where it's almost comes natural for them to speak that way to... The lady is older than Hannah. I say ma'am to black women who were older than me, even though they end up telling me not to do that. But, you know, sometimes ma'am does roll off your tongue naturally. But it's just because this lady give me, like, slave owner tease that it just makes me uncomfortable. So, yeah. So, after Benny go move his car, so the lady name is Pearl. How funny, right? So Pearl all in the window being nosy, like as most Pearls do. And she tells Hannah about the man coming in and out of Candace's house all night long, and how there was a man who came and never went out. And she described Quincy to a T. The hat, the afro, his demeanor, the look in his eye, and everything. So Hannah knew that that was Quincy, without a doubt. And then the lady almost called him colored. Because she was like, he had an afro and he was... And then she looked at Hannah, oh, I mean African American. And Hannah was just like, I would have been like, oh, what, you was gonna call him colored? Like, come on, Hannah, you ain't gotta be that nice all the time. And that's not being mean, you just asking the question. So anyway, Now, Hannah let her talk all this shit about Candace, and I know that seems kind of messed up. Like, at any point she could have been like, hey, that's my daughter. But me personally, I would have did the same thing. Like, I would have wanted to hear everything Miss Pearl had to say, and then be like, just like Hannah did, like, because the lady was like, do you know her? She was like, yeah, that's my daughter. She's like, oh, like, she was all shocked. But yeah, I would have personally did it like that. I could understand you being like, no, somebody talking about my daughter, I'm a checker. But at least look at all the dirt Hannah got by not checking her. So if she would have said it earlier, that's my daughter, Hannah wouldn't have got that info. So I'm kind of here for her just letting the lady like have diarrhea of the mouth for a second. And then, like I said, I'm glad Hannah eventually was like, yeah, that's my daughter and that's my son. So then the lady get all scared and go in the house. Why? I don't get that. Because after she already talked about Candace, and Hannah revealed it was her daughter, she just kept on talking. But when it came to Benny, she was like, oh, that's your son? Then she scurried on in the house. At first, she was going to show Hannah a picture of Quincy, but she never got to it once she found out Benny was the son. So I couldn't understand did the lady think that Benny and Candace was doing incest or something? Like, is that why? Because he was one of the guys coming over? Or is it because Benny was right there and he could have beat the lady up? That's why she ran away. I didn't get why she ran away after that. So anyway, y'all, Landon, he found out about Maggie Day. He reading it on the phone, found out that it was at Veronica's house. Jeffrey asked to see the phone. Landon let him see the phone, but then he snatched the phone back. Why, Landon? You was so busy overstuffing your suitcase. You could have let Jeffrey hold the phone while he finished reading while you was packing. If you want to get out of here, get out of here. But I didn't understand why he snatched the phone. Was like, I gotta go. Like, you was still packing. Like, Jeffrey could have still held the phone. But I understand. I would feel that way too. He only came there because of Maggie Day. Now Maggie Day shot, so he already got bullied by some thugs. So why would he stay? I would be out of there too. But you know, I would try to find out what happened to my friend first. But I agree with Landon. He said he getting out of here. All the people in the town is crazy. And he kicked Jeffrey out, and he was not having it. But 90 seconds ago, he was down to the bar trying to get the D. But we ain't gonna go there because, hey, he did find out some tragic information about his friend Maggie. So I get it. So I guess Landon out of here, y'all. But I don't think he gonna make it out. Not that he gonna die. I just think something gonna keep him, or maybe he gonna try to find out what happened or something. I don't know. So anyway, y'all, David and Jim. Okay. This was a good scene. This was my favorite scene of the episode. At first I wasn't even sure if I was going to be reviewing it, but it was this scene that made me like, okay, I got to at least talk about that. Okay, so as we know, David beat Jim up. And to me, he deserved it still to this day. So now that David knows that Veronica's not dead and Oscar told him that Jim called off the hit, David goes back to the prison to apologize to Jim. How he get in? I thought the last time was his last time of being able to get in, you know, but whatever, we gonna let that go. So David told Jim that he knew that Jim called off the hit. At first Jim was acting all tough, like, no I didn't, what you talking about, da 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 da. And David was like, come on, I know you did. So then finally Jim was like, yes I did. When I saw the look in your eye when you were protecting Veronica, I recognized that look. It was the same look I had in my eye for Amanda. So Jim was basically saying, I realized that you really even loved your wife, so I couldn't do that, so I called it off. And Jim didn't even call her a bitch. He was like, that wife, instead of saying that bitch like he normally do, you know. So I was here for it or whatever. So that was cute. I was like, oh. But when did Jim call that hit off? From jail? Because we sure didn't see it, but hey, whatever. But like I said, to me, he still deserved to beat it because he revealed, like, yes, I called a hit on your wife, but I called it off. So, hey, we supposed to be best friends. Like, it don't matter if you see the look in my eye or not. You know that that's my wife. I'm just trying to check my phone because it's hot. And then I did a video not too long ago and it cut off saying, oh, the phone is too hot. So maybe I should move it just for a little bit because I don't want it to burn up. Yeah, y'all. So I I don't know. I just thought it was cute, you guys. So David tells Jim about Maggie as Maggie's dead, and Jim was like, you better sleep with both eyes open. And he was like, oh, it don't matter because I already fought for the divorce. And then Jim was like, that's even more reason. You know Veronica don't like to get embarrassed, especially in public. I was like, yep, that's so true. He know what he talking about. So then Jim asked David, do he love Maggie? And I answered for him. I was like, no. Then instantly David was like, no. I was like, that's right, David. You better not love them hoes. She was too thirsty, y'all. I mean, I know sometimes thirsty girls be winning, but like I said, he just needed to pick somebody else. Okay, so then Jim asks David if he slept with Maggie. And then David was like, I never cheated on my wife. So what do you guys think that was about? Was it, you know, he didn't want to lay all the cards on the table? Hey, at the end of the day, him and Jim are cool, but they still not that cool. So did David just not want to tell Jim the truth? Or is it because, remember, at first David didn't sleep with Maggie. He only slept with Maggie after he found out all the extra stuff. So I wonder if in David's head, that's the point that his marriage was over. And so that's when he slept with her. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, was he just lying to Jim because Jim don't need to know all his business, especially after all these years of David kind of reprimanding Jim for being a whore? Or was it because in his head, like, no, I didn't sleep with Maggie until I felt that my marriage was over? So that's what I kind of wonder. But y'all know y'all be getting me with that stuff. You ain't married till you're married, and you ain't divorced till you divorced. But I digress. So anyway, you guys, so they apologized, they shook hands, they joked about who had a mean right hook, and they laughed. And I just thought that was so cool, like man-to-man conversation. I just was like, that is true friendship, whether it would have happened between men or women. Not too often it happens between women like that I know of, but I don't know. I just thought it was cool how they basically had an all-out brawl, like blood stomping brawl, but at the end of the day they decided, like, you know, we cool, right? David said they're frenemies. And I just had to laugh. I've never heard a man use the term frenemy, so it was kind of funny to see David do it because he's such a, like, burly type guy, you know. So anyway, Veronica and Benny, y'all, this was the next, I guess, good scene, or another good scene of this episode, you guys. First of all, why was Veronica there? So anyway, Hannah about to go to Catherine's house, so she go outside and she see Benny and Veronica on the porch. All she could do was shake her head. And in my head I was like, oh my gosh, Veronica is Catherine's best friend and she don't even know what's going on right now, you know. But whatever. Hannah walked right on past him and don't say nothing and just shake her head. So Veronica coming on to Benny like, let's go to your room, da 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 da. And Benny was like, no, this is not what I came here for. The only reason I came here is because I want you to tell your husband to stop messing with my business. He messed up my phone. Now I'm not getting no tolls. He needs to stop messing with my money. Why he couldn't tell her that on the phone? Why did she have to know his new address? Oh well, she already knew the address because she looked at the deed, but I don't know. So that was that, you guys. So she seemed happy to find out that David was asking about her, because she was like, why you think it's my husband? Benny was like, oh, he came to my job, he was asking me this, and I told him to just fall back and to ask you. And he was like, good for you, I'll see what I could do. Basically that's what Veronica was saying, like, oh, I'll see what I could do, or I'll help you out, or whatever. But then, y'all, even though I was team Benny on this whole thing, technically he started it, y'all. At first Benny asked for help and she was like, all right, you know, I'll see what I could do. But then he the one who dissed her. He was like, so what is it with you old bras, or what is with you old women? So hey, oh, old chick, he said, what is with you old chicks trying to sleep with young guys to make your husband jealous? See, you cannot call nobody an old chick, even if they really are an old chick. Like, at that point, Veronica had never said nothing bad or done nothing bad to Benny until then. So after he called her old chick, she was like, oh, old chick, huh? And then she just went in and let him have it. She was like, I'm not using you to get jealous. Like, I just use you for sex. If I wanted to use somebody to get jealous, I would have to have somebody with more money in their bank account, somebody who knows how to conjugate a verb, and somebody who knows their way around the lady parts without me having to direct. I was like, oh my gosh. That's true though. But I mean, I could totally agree with that. Like, I could see David, like, even though David was mad, any husband gonna be mad if they find out their wife is cheating, but I could definitely see David being like, yeah, anyway. So yeah, so she kind of dissed him, told him why he wasn't no real competition. Like, you know, he need to like stay in his lane, and you know, messing with David is a grown man's game. So y'all, Benny was like, oh, you saying all this now, you wasn't saying that the other night, da 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 da, y'all. So he was like, yeah, go ahead and look at it one more time, y'all. Why he pull his thing out on the porch? I was like, oh my god, he looks so sexy. Okay, I'm just saying, like, Benny's not my type, but I'm just saying, like, that stance he did in that move, it was just so sexy. I was like, oh my gosh, Benny. But anyway, y'all, Veronica was like, oh, I was faking it, da 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 da. So she was faking it right there, and like, oh, you believe me? And I was like, oh Benny, yada yada yada. And she was like, whatever, boy, bye. Like, you better fall back on my husband. And she just kind of walked away, y'all. So Benny ruined it, you guys. She was gonna help him, but then when he dissed her, she dissed him back. And now she like, oh, you no match for my husband, you better watch out. So I'm like, man, I don't want nothing to happen to Benny. But I was happy when he pulled his thing out. Not because he pulled it out. I was just happy that he kind of like checked her back. Like, oh, you want to say all this about me, but yeah, right. Like, you know, you had a good time. So what y'all think, y'all? Y'all think she faked it for real, or she just saying that now that she got dissed? Like, I don't know, y'all. I kind of believe Veronica. Like, let me see how I could say this without sounding super shady. But okay, a lot of times women do lie when the sex is good. Like, sometimes women want sex just because they want sex, just because they want to do it. Like, we could pretend like it's good even when it's not, and it could still be fun. Like, just because you pretend don't mean it's not that great. Well, maybe that's just in my head. So I'm just trying to say that if it's true that Veronica was faking it, like, I could see it. She was mad at her husband. She just wanted to get back, so she just had sex with the first person she could find. It just happened to be Benny, so she pretended like it was all great, and it probably was fun, you know, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna leave my husband for you type fun. Or, you know, she just did a little something, and, you know, she's on with it. Yeah, she wanted again if you gonna give it to her, but if you don't, she ain't about to be all crying about it, you know. So I can see that being true, but at the same time, the way Benny had that little stance going on, she might be lying and just mad because he called her old. So anyway, you guys, let's get to the main scene of this episode. Sorry for all the extra, y'all, but I just wanted to not blow up my little phone. Catherine is in a robe in her bed, you guys. Catherine looked good. Her arms look slim. It looked like she lost weight or something. So she in the bed in her little kimono, and then her phone ring, y'all, and she do not answer it. I personally don't get that. I'd be anxious to find out what's going on, but, you know, maybe because my uterus has never held an embryo. You know, maybe I'm missing that part of it, but when the phone rang, Catherine just knew something was going wrong. So, you know, she called Hannah to come over, da 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 da. Hannah calls her to come downstairs, because at first she wasn't going to come downstairs, but she finally came downstairs. So Hannah and the detective are downstairs. So she all crying and shaking like, what is it? Instantly she seen the detective, and she was like, oh, I don't want you here. The last time I saw you, my daughter was dead. So tell me, is it true? Is my son dead? And at first he was just quiet, but then he was like, yes ma'am, your son is dead. I was just like, no. So instantly, y'all, she's shaking. She falls to the ground. She cried. That was like an Oscar-worthy fallout, you guys. It was so good. Hannah had tears in her eyes because she was begging, like, tell me. And even Hannah had tears in her eyes. Y'all, I was sitting there trying to hold my eyes open. I was like, so no tears wouldn't fall out. I was trying to be thug life, y'all. I was like, no, I can't cry. But it was so sad, you guys. So I guess Wyatt is dead. I did not think Wyatt was gonna be dead. Like, I thought he was just gonna be passed out or in a coma or something. That is sad, you guys, to have 2 kids dead, like, you know, within weeks or whatever. That is so sad, you guys. So she screams and she falls down. You can hear that scream throughout the whole house, throughout the whole plantation. Because you know their little houses look like a little plantation. But yeah, it was just like this blood screeching scream or whatever the phrase is. So yeah, you guys, I think Wyatt is gone. And if he not gone, like, they should get sued for not finding out for real. And then that was another thing. They went to the house and Wyatt was still in the bed. Like, don't you supposed to do all these checks and balances before you declare somebody dead? But you know, hey, this is the show, so we'll see, you guys. So that's it, you guys. That was a great scene. It was so sad. You know, Catherine did a really good job, acted it out. Hannah, even with her little tears welling up, that was really good too. So that was pretty much the episode, you guys. In the previews, we see the down low cop guy and Jeffrey back in the bed again. So this is the 3rd round for him not to be down with the get down. And then we see Catherine asking Hannah to do something, and Hannah was like, you can't ask me that. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's to identify the body. But I'm like, yeah, your son almost killed my son. Now you want him to go ID his body? And not only that, okay, low key, like, Hannah only known them for less than a year. So how would she know? She couldn't identify if it was him when he hit her own son. So now she got to identify him dead? Well, I don't know what that. That's just what I assumed it is. So we'll see what Catherine asks Hannah. And then the last thing we see, you guys, Matthew or Mike or whatever his name confront Hannah or confront Candace about war. But, you know, he ain't nobody really yet anyway. So then the last thing we see is War got Candace, and he's saying something like, yeah, if the money don't come by 5 o'clock, it's on. But I'm like, why do she keep getting kidnapped by War? Like, she should have a better security system now. And if I owed somebody some money and I was waiting to it to clear, like, I wouldn't go nowhere. Like, how do he even have her? Like, I wouldn't be saying, oh, the bank said the money coming by 5. Let's you and I wait right here together till the money come. Like, so Candace is slipping on her pimping. And then, you know, we know she told Hannah that the kid is with a preacher and his wife. So is that a lie or not, y'all? Because we didn't know about the foster care part, so maybe that part is true. But she looked like she was lying. And then when Benny asked her, is your child really with a preacher, she wouldn't answer. So I'm so confused, y'all, by that. Like, she know that War is dead. And, you know, so why didn't she get the son? But I don't know. So anyway, you guys, that was the have and have nots, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my little recap. If you have, you know what's up. Give me the thumbs up on the video and go ahead and check me out on Twitter at TammyB_, TAMIB and the symbol _. All right, you guys. See you in the next review. Bye.